Salt and Sass podcast, where we share our love for the wonderful world of board games with you, whether you're a gaming veteran or just starting your tabletop journey. Welcome to episode 3. I'm Suzanne.
And I'm Mandi.
Did you hear that little voice crack there? Like,
I thought you were talking about me. I'm like, what are you talking about? I was getting ready for my Metallica entrance. I know, everyone's like...
You're so rad.
Well, everyone's like, what are you talking about? I'm like, so for those who are just listening to the podcast, I am wearing a Metallica sweatshirt. Yes, I enjoy Metallica. And I was all ready to come in with my sleep with one eye open, gripping your pillow tight, exit light, enter night. Take my hand. We're off to never, never like. Okay.
I need a lighter.
That was my.
I don't have a lighter.
I got the devil horns.
Here, I can do my phone flash. There we go.
I'm sorry to get out of my system. So for those, you all are in for a treat today because I did not take my medication. I ran out.
Oh no!
It's gonna be that kind of podcast. Yes.
Oh. Buckle in, folks. We're in trouble. Or in for the best podcast ever.
Exactly.
Time will tell. Welcome back. We are, of course, your friendly neighborhood board gamers. And Mandi, I know that you had Kanata-con. Kanata-con.
And I'm probably not even saying it like the original way it's supposed to be said. And I say that because, that's just the name, but there probably is a correct pronunciation.
There's probably a history to it,
absolutely,
right?
But we say Kanata.
The spiel in Essen just wrapped up, and all sorts of gaming talk and preview photos and things like that came out of it. I don't know. Do you want to talk about the spiel? Do you want to talk about Kanata-con?
Oh, look at that. You're getting it. So I'll be quick. I just want to say Kanata-con was amazing. We had a really a record turnout, lots of great volunteers. I just have to do some shout outs because Stéphane Lebeau, who is part of the old crew at To Die For Games, was demoing Keystone North America, which I'll be talking about later this episode, and was doing that nonstop, even when he wasn't feeling well at one point. And there was a group that came in and wanted to play. He was like, yeah, I'll show it to you. So, shout out for that and all the other demos. Joe's one of the organizers, very just on top of it, and won one of our awards at the event. I did some demoing. Luke, thank you so much for demoing, and to all the publishers that contributed games. Rose Gauntlet Entertainment, there was Restoration Games, and Spin Master Games. So I just thought I'd shout out to all of those people who made it a success, and to everybody else who volunteered. We appreciate you, and we look forward to next year.
And really, folks, check out your local gaming scene. I know that we're going to talk about the spiel a little bit, and we always talk about Gen Con or PAX Unplugged or Shucks, which just also wrapped up. It can be so easy to get so excited and so hyped for these big gaming conventions. But really, local gaming conventions are awesome and such a great way to try new games, meet new gamers, and just have a lot of fun with board games. And with board gaming growing in popularity, there are so many local game conventions popping up around the country.
Yeah.
And, hey, quite frankly, if you don't have one near you, it takes a little bit of work to set them up, but it's not impossible. You rent the conference room at a local Holiday Inn and put some notices on Board Game Geek, and Bob's your uncle, you have a board game convention. So, and not that, I think Kanata-con sounds like it's a little more advanced than, a Holiday Inn room, but It started somewhere, Mandi, and it sounds like you had a ton of fun and just really play-oriented. People got to try new games, people got to win some games, and it sounds great.
It's an all-around really good atmosphere. So for me, it's always something that I help with running it. So, that should say something.
Fair enough. Yeah. Fair enough. When you're good, you're good.
Yeah, what can I say?
And you had nothing to do with running the spiel, but it sounds like it went really well too. I know.
I know. All the updates online. I'm like a little tear welled in the corner, but I was also happy to see everyone having a really good time.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's one of those things, right? Because we've been lucky enough to go in the past, and because we know a lot of people in board games, you see, our social media feeds are full of chat and photos and conversations coming out of Germany during it, and also some Shuck stuff too, quite frankly, for me. And I saw a lot of the games that we talked about last episode being displayed and played and demoed. that dwarf romantic game, oh, Mandy.
Looks so good.
It looks so fun. And like they really captured the spirit of that. Yeah. The other game apparently that was being demoed there that we didn't talk about, but I guess it's coming up on crowdfunding. We'll have to talk about it in crowdfunding chat soon. Is the Slay the Spire board game.
I saw that and I'm just when I was like, no, don't spend any more money on Kickstarter. You're poor. Well, exceptions might have to be
that
made.
One's gonna be a must back for me. So that was really, really fun. A lot of great games out of, one of the things I've always said that I love out of the Spiel is like Asian publishers go there. It was really cool to see a variety of publishers there. Although, as always, the Spiel, like any this is not like pointing a finger at the Spiel, but there's always issues, right? And one of the challenges that folks at the Spiel have always had to juggle is customs. So apparently the Korean board game publishers kind of pooled resources and like palleted games together, right? To take them into Germany to sell. And their entire shipment got held by German customs, and they had none of their games to sell unless they like packed them in their suitcase.
That sucks.
Like the whole like Korean community that made the effort to go to Germany like didn't get their games.
Yeah,
and that's happened before to other publishers. It's they have some very strict rules about how games are labeled and things like that. And so I felt really bad when I heard that. But the other big change that is so random, the Spiel was really a cash-heavy event. Every year you would hear about cash boxes being stolen.
Right.
Apparently the pandemic has kind of forced the hand, and so this apparently was the first year where credit cards were widely accepted at the Spiel, which is, quite frankly, a game changer, right? Because, Mandy, you and I remember like running around trying to find cash machines and doing currency exchange, trying to make sure we had enough dollars or euros, right, to go around the convention. And the idea that we could just have our credit card now is mind-blowing.
So good. So much easier, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did hear about at least one booth, unfortunately, getting robbed, which, just so tragic. But it sounds like overall the Spiel was really, really successful. And now we get the weeks of seeing everybody cracking open the games that they got and exploring them, which will be really great for us, too, because it'll help us refine what we want to spend our money on.
Yeah. The pot's a little dry right now, but hopefully in the next few weeks I'll have some funds.
Fingers crossed on that, Mandy, for sure.
Exactly. But I did get a game that maybe was at Essen, and I think you got it too. I think you played it, and we're going to talk about it now, but I had to mention it because we all know that we're Alexander Pfister fans of his games, and Sky Mines is one that I recently got in the mail, but you actually had a chance to play it, so was that at Essen, or was that just a random release?
I'm sure it's pretty new, and Pegasus Spiel was kind enough to send us copies to try out, and because we're both really excited about it, because this is kind of the re-implementation of Mombasa, right? And Mombasa is a great game on many levels. Arguably, its setting and its theme is a little bit problematic in terms of how it takes advantage and presents the African diamond mine situation, and so Sky Mines takes it and puts it into a sci-fi thing. But it's not just a reskin.
Right.
They've definitely added and changed some mechanical elements. I did get to play it once.
Okay.
Mandy, you got to get to the table so we can talk about
tomorrow.
More on the podcast.
Or sorry, I guess at the time of this recording, it'll be like, well, we're recording. It'll be the next day that I have a game day because it's a holiday here, so I'll be able to play it.
Perfect.
And well, our banter can't be, closed off without me talking about some type of video game or app. So
of course,
let me do a little breath in because I played a few things this past weekend. I played Deathloop, Beacon Pines, Coffee Talk, and I finally finished Tinykins.
Finally? Like, you've only been playing Tinykins for like 2 weeks, and you're like, I finally finished it.
Well, and I also finished Inscription.
Plowed through that game.
I also finished Inscription, which we had talked about. That's a whole other thing. But there's a whole other mod. So I think I might have to stream a little bit of this mod because I suck at it. It's making me so frustrated. But if you like that kind of scary deck builder, but it also changes. And I don't want to give away too much, but the game doesn't stay constant. Like, it actually changes scenes. And anyway, it's so good. So Inscription, you have to try it. Tinykins, oh my gosh, it's so cute. It's like, if you like that game Heart of the Woods, is it Heart of the Woods? Wild
Pikmin.
It's that one I trolled you to start.
Yeah, in the Heart of the Woods. Yeah, in the woods.
Yeah.
Into the woods. Yeah.
Into the woods or something. Not Into the Woods, because Into the Woods is different.
Heart of the Woods, maybe then. Yeah, I've played that one. That one's super fun and cute too. Yeah.
it's kind of a similar concept to that with you get these little tinykin things and they all do different things. Like you can use them to climb or you can use them to explode things. Like you throw these little cute things at stuff and it'll explode something or whatever. Anyway, so cute. It's on Game Pass, so I was like, I had to play it. Coffee Talk and Beacon Pines are more of like those like point and click kind of games. And the one for Beacon Pines, it's more of like, it's kind of a sad, it's like sad and dark at the same time. Like it's cute. The art is so cute. But then the theme is like about this little, and I don't know if he's like a deer, but a little animal, but he is sad about his dad passed away and his mom, like he doesn't know where his mom is, like she's gone and he's trying to find her. But then there's like some dark things happening in the community as well. Like it's cute and then it takes a dark turn, but I'm like, I'm kind of here for it. So doing that, and Coffee Talk's a little more casual. You're literally talking to people in their stories as they come in and making them coffee or tea and that sort of thing. Apparently I stink at making certain types of coffee, but the conversation is good. And to round it off, Deathloop, well, that is like unlike any of the others. But, you know, it's like your shooter type of game, but like you're in a loop. So like if you don't do something properly, you get, you know, killed off. Then you kind of start this loop all over again. I don't know. I just started it, so it's kind of weird. And note to Bethesda, make your font bigger. I cannot see the font, and it drives me crazy when I'm playing away from the TV. I have to like walk up to the TV and like eyeball it. It's so small. Make it bigger. Sorry, that's my rant.
You sound like Marty and Tony from Rolling Dice and Taking Names right now. You're channeling Marty and Tony with your...
Well, come on. I don't know about anybody else, but I play games with subtitles, and I make the subtitles really big. I like subtitles. For me, I need to... It's a thing. I just need to... When they're talking, I like to see it. It's when I learn languages. It's the same thing. So make it bigger. And then to end off, I know I said that before. Well, this is for reals, the end. Roguebook. Suzanne, I know you've played this. It's hard.
I've played a ton of Roguebook. I love it.
I can't get past... What is it? Act 2 or something? Anyway, I'm struggling. I'll get in. I'm like, yeah. And as soon as I get too confident, it's over. And if you don't know, Roguebook is like a deck building. Well, how would you describe it? Like deck building? I feel like there's another word I'm missing there.
Well, it's a roguelike. Right?
There you go.
And
That's
so you're exploring a board, essentially a hexagonal board that is covered up, and you get these paintbrushes that let you expand in different patterns to reveal tiles. And some tiles will be empty, and some tiles will have treasures, and some tiles will have combat. And you're going through, and then you get to play cards, and you are juggling two characters that can swap and work together. It's a great game. It's actually one of its core designers is Richard Garfield.
Yeah.
Which is what first drew it to me. I played it a ton on Steam, and now it's available on the Nintendo Switch as well, which is a great way to be able to play it portably if you don't own, a Steam Deck yet. Ugh, I'm so tempted.
No,
but it's so
I opted
expensive.
for the laptop.
Yeah.
I just got a gaming laptop instead. Anyway.
And so, if you like roguelike games and if you like deck building, again, it's going to harken back to games like Slay the Spire or Monster Train. If you like those kinds of games, then Roguebook is definitely worth checking out. It's really good.
And there's an expansion. I can't even get past the base game, so I don't even know why I'm mentioning an expansion. I just have some advice. Don't get too confident. I had a little combo that was working. I'm like, yeah. I started feeling myself. I'm like, and then bam, died. So... yeah.
Dun, dun, dun.
Anyway, enough about my foray into video games and apps, which I'm sure delight all of you. Haha, wink, wink. We should probably talk about some actual board games. What do you think?
Yeah, let's talk about some crowdfunding because there's a lot of good stuff happening right now. First up, let's talk about Harrow Country, the game of Gothic conflict. Dun, dun, dun. Ooh. All right, this is on Kickstarter, and it's being run by Off the Page Games, which previously did the Mind Management board game. Off the Page Games, as far as I know, their brand is that they are focused on bringing graphic novel and comic book properties into the board game world, which is great. And I'll tell you, if you have not checked out Mind Management is so good. It's got this hidden movement deduction thing going on. The production is out of this world, and in terms of how it harkens back to the graphic novel it's based on, it did a phenomenal job. So here we are with Harrow Country, which is kind of that gothic horror almost. So Mandi, I would be shocked if you do not want to check this out, although I know the next thing I'm going to say may turn you off. It's 1v1 or 1v mini.
Yeah.
Yep, there it is.
Looked at it and then I saw that and went, oh.
And that's okay. Not every game can be for every person. So that's the setting of this game. It's designed by Jay Cormier and Shad Miller. And the art is by, literally, Tyler Crook, who does the graphic novel. Looks really, really sharp. It's got the gimmick, and I use the word gimmick with love because I think gimmicks, when they work, such as like the tower from Return to Dark Tower or the Wiimotes from the Nintendo Wii, when gimmicks work, they're phenomenal. I love them. So I don't say gimmick as an insult at all. The gimmick here is like they have a cube tower that's built into the side of the box, and it looks really clever and cool. And I'm like, oh, that's a fascinating use of space I've never seen before. So that's exciting. That campaign's going to run through October 27th, and a pledge for the base game is 65 US, 85 Canadian. So check Harrow Country, the game of Gothic conflict out there.
It caught my eye. I'm not going to lie to you. I was like, ooh, this look good. I'm like, yeah. I was like, and then I'm like, oh, the one versus many. It's for me, it's more just like trying to find people to play it with. That's the biggest thing. And then the one versus one, I mean, that's not terrible, and that's not a deal breaker. I know for a fact it looks great. I love it. I'm going to buy it, and it's going to sit on the shelf. And not because it's a bad game. I just can't get it to the table. So, but another one versus many, which it's like, wow, Mandy, you just seem to really like these. The Stifling Dark. Now, I'm not as prepared as Suzanne, so let me pull up the old Kickstarter page here while I'm talking about it.
Get it together. You're a professional, darn it.
Well, you know how it goes. The Stifling Dark is by Sophisticated Cerberus Games, and the campaign's already started October 4th, and it is on Kickstarter, and I believe it runs until, let's see, this requires some calculations here. It says there's 25 days to go as of October 9th. So hold on.
It says it in the description underneath the pledge button, Mandy. It says this campaign ends on a specific date.
You would think, but the page I'm on, it is not saying that. So,
okay. Whoops, sorry.
It's like, yeah, girl, get it together. Oh, wait. No, it's there. I just didn't see. Moving on. So Stifling Dark, October 4th until November 3rd. There it is, everybody.
Yay!
Got it. So it's on now, and that's when it runs until. And the description for this game is keep your friends close and your flashlight closer in this one versus many hidden movement horror game. I mean, as soon as I saw that, friends close, get that flashlight, horror movement, I was into it. The one versus many, I don't think I'd be able to get it to the table. However, it's not about me all the time as much as I like it to be about me. Other people may also enjoy.
Love that honesty.
Well, I know, but they may enjoy that one versus many. It plays 2 to 5 players. I think it's 25 minutes per person. So it's not super light, but I don't think it's intense. And I think it's like 14 plus. But it seems very thematic. And, usually you're one versus many. There's some hidden movement. Someone's trying to find the rest of you. So I'm assuming it's some kind of bad person that's trying to get everybody else. And I think they have different abilities like investigations. And obviously you're trying to get away from the adversary that's moving around on the board. It's your standard, what you expect from one versus many. And I know the flashlight is mentioned because I think that is like an integral part of the game, using your flashlight as a type of action to kind of highlight certain areas of the board.
Oh, cool. Oh,
yeah,
wow.
So I think they're really kind of putting that thematic, making it very thematic with that. And then they have a whole team of investigators, and I think more will come out as the campaign progresses. So, I mean, I love horror anything, and this game, like I remember when I first saw it, I was like, oh, this looks really good. And it's not to say that I won't play it. But for me, one versus many just don't hit the table too often. But the Stifling Dark, I think, is one, if you are into horror, it does look quite fun.
There you go. And normally we really only try to cover a couple of campaigns. And again, these are not paid spots. These are just campaigns that we find interesting, that caught our eye, that, we wanted to make sure you were aware of. And we just could not talk about Pocketbook Adventures as well. This is from Grumpy Spider Games, which I'll be honest, I hadn't heard of before.
No,
but
me neither.
Now it's adorable. I mean, and now I want to know more. So this is a solo dungeon crawl game in a book, right? It's a little spiral bound notebook, not large. It looks like smaller than a 3x5, and it's pretty big, for a notebook. And each page is like another level in this dungeon crawl game that is literally just pencil and your notebook and you're off to trot. Is that a phrase that I feel like that's not a phrase that people use.
I say it.
Okay, well that's
that
probably
might not
where
be
I got
helping
it
your
from.
case.
Thanks for that, Mandy. And really, it's got this aiming thing where you literally drop the pencil, like it's got targets printed on the pages and things like that. There are bosses that you can hit. You're traveling through the paper dungeon using your pencils and getting treasure and hit points and all that good stuff. It's for a printed copy. It's $12 in the US with, I think, free shipping for the US. Sorry, Mandy. I know. Yeah, but there's also a digital download edition. So you can just print it at home as well, which is, and that's for even less funds. And I love that as an option to keep games really affordable for folks who might, have a smaller budget for board games. So pocketbook adventures, if you're into that, like I have done a number of these solo RPG paper games.
Oh, they're so fun.
I just love them.
Yeah.
They're so fun. They're great to just toss, keep in your bag or in your pocket, your briefcase, your work bag, whatever, as you're, if you get stuck waiting in line or if you're waiting for an appointment at the doctor or whatever, and to have something fun and tactile and analog to do. So Pocketbook Adventures, check it out. It's on Kickstarter. It also ends October 27th.
No, I love those types of games. Even though it's solo, I like them because they're kind of quick and I can just pull them out anywhere. And I also forgot, it's going to be that kind of podcast today. I forgot to give you the pricing for the Stifling Dark. It is 50 US or 69 Canadian. So there you go.
There you go. Nice.
All right, game time. I feel like we have like a little ditty of our own for each section, but that's just probably a me thing.
If you look, we've got like audio clips, but if you want to create a little song for them, I know that I doubt people would object to that.
I know. Well, we'll take suggestions. If people want a little more heavy metal, a little more pop, let me know. I'll see what I can do. Well, the first game on my list, and I know this is a new one because I think it debuted or was shown at Essen, is The Wolves. And this is designed by Ashvin Kamath and Clarence Simpson. Art is by Paulina Linjama, and the art... Wow. And the art again...
Hang in there. You got it, girl. You got
it. Rewind. Art is by Paulina Linchama, and it's published by Pandasaurus Games. Wow, apparently that was really difficult for me. I think someone was telling me one of the designers is the same one that did Merchants of Magic. I could be wrong, but
that's Clarence. That's why, it's Clarence. And Clarence
okay, so that was correct.
I've never met Clarence in person, but Clarence seems awesome.
Okay, I think it was David, actually. It was and I'm like, I had no idea. But The Wolves plays at about 75 minutes, and it plays 2 to 5 players. So The Wolves, it's literally that. You're wolves, and you're trying to traverse different types of terrain. And the game is definitely like a area majority type game. You'll have the board is set up in kind of different, depending on player count, will depend on how the pieces are laid out. And you have different types of terrain, like I'm going to say snow. These are not technically correct. I apologize. But, you've got your forest and you've got your kind of icy areas. You've got your stone and things like that. Each player, the goal of the game is to get the most kind of majority because you have different scoring throughout the game. And there's a board that kind of monitors that. And it's sped up by pieces leaving the board and they go to this kind of track. Once you reach a certain point, you'll score a certain area based on the type of moon token that's in that area. Each player has their own board and color, like their wolves and stuff, and it's set up to let you know how much movement you have. There's a howl action, so it lets you know how far you can kind of recruit other types of other wolves to your pack. And you also have tiles. Everyone's allotted a set amount of tiles, but you'll have more of one than the other. So as in, you'll have more of one type of terrain easily for you to easily attain. So for example, I liked playing the purple wolves, and the tiles that I had, it means that I had a tile that was double-sided with stone. You're like, what does it matter if it's double-sided? All of the other tiles have one terrain on one side, one terrain on the other. And the reason why that's important is because your actions require you to sometimes use 1, 2, or 3 matching terrains to do an action. So, for example, and this is off the top of my head, I believe movement, and I might be wrong on this, I think it's only one tile that you have to flip, but it has to be the terrain to which you're moving. So if I'm on grasslands and I'm going to stone, I need to make sure that I have a tile that has stone. I'm going to flip it and then move to that area. And now, depending on your board and how you've set that, how you've progressed throughout the game, will depend on how many wolves you can make and how many wolves you can move and how far you can move with these wolves. And these will happen by trying to get dens out on the board, and that'll increase movement and that sort of thing. So there's an action to let you build dens and lairs on the board, which again will also assist with your area majority. So these are just a few of the actions. Howling, like I was mentioning before, so you can get other tokens on the board to become part of your pack, so that lets you put up more of your wolf tokens. And you have alpha and baby wolves, and it's very cute. So there's a lot of that sort of thing, a lot of movement on the board, obviously trying to get those areas and trying to get to areas that you know are going to score. There are other tokens on the board that you can acquire there. It's almost like a set collection sort of kind of thing, because you can't have repetition of the animals on the board. They have these other tokens that you can surround. And then once you've surrounded them, you can take them, put them on your board, and they're going to give you points depending on how far you've gotten up that track. And there's a variety of tracks like that. The game ends. Remember that track I was telling you about when all the pieces, like if you take over an area of someone's area, their piece goes on this board and that kind of progresses up a track. Say, oh, we're going to score now because we've hit this kind of quarter moon, and then it continues like that till we hit a half moon and then a full moon. Depending on how many players, it'll tell you, okay, after this scoring, the game is going to end after this. So the tracker will tell you when the game is going to finish depending on your player count. Okay, let's get into this. This is hard because I liked the game, but it could have been better.
Okay.
And I don't mean that to be insulting. I mean, it is what it is. There are a few things to consider. First of all, I love color on a board. I love color. However, when it becomes a hindrance for when you're playing, like I can't see my piece versus somebody else's piece against the terrain color, that's a problem for me.
Oh, yeah.
It was just so vibrant, and I don't have challenges with color, so I can imagine someone who did. I personally think this would be very difficult for you to navigate. It would have been, I think I would have been okay if they had the tiles maybe double-sided, like have one side more muted, one side with the bright color. So then you can decide how you want to play. If that was too expensive, I would personally just have it more muted and then have the pieces stand out, because it was really hard to read sometimes. And I would find myself missing, oh, shoot, I didn't even see that over there. Like it was a bit of an assault on the eyes. And I feel like that could have gone in a different direction. I thought the game itself had some very interesting, mechanics or things going on. I really like the whole tile use of the tiles for actions, because sometimes be like, oh, I need that extra tile, you know what I mean? Or maybe I just need to get a token, because they have tokens that give you extra actions and things like that, or extra terrain to help you meet it. I really liked that kind of tension with that. That was great. Pushing on that, I thought that was something that I don't see in a ton of games. I really like that. It really made me think. So that was something that I thought was really good. And I really like the types of actions and how that played out. And the board, like making sure that, hey, you get to this before it scores, but maybe you're not going to. So maybe pushing to another area. Like I like that kind of decision making. And this is where I'm like, the game was good. But then you had the rule book. And then you had some things that were like clear on the board and then said something different in the rule book, or vice versa. So like I'm confused. I'm like, is it this or is it this? Or it's just really hard to find. And to me, that really puts me off of a game, because is this how the game is supposed to be played? Or was this a change and then just wasn't corrected? Like, I don't know. It was a really confusing experience sometimes. And I played this with several people and everybody said the exact same thing. I also had someone who was bothered by this way more than I was, but maybe I'm just missing it. Maybe, Suzanne, you can help me out here. There's a part of the game where you have your wolves.
I have not played it, so.
Sure, but maybe just this concept in general, because maybe I'm missing something that he was, because he wasn't too happy about this, but he felt like he was being penalized for getting his wolves out on the board too quickly. So there's an action that requires you to be able to take a wolf and put it on the board, or to replace a wolf that you're kind of trying to get off the board. But if you have none, then you can't do that action. Now, keeping in mind, when you get wolves out on the board, you get points. So at the end of the game, whatever the highest point, I think it's the highest point value is showing, you're going to get those points. But if you have no more to put out, then you just can't do that action. I don't have a problem with that per se, because that is an option you chose to take, and you're just going to get maximum points at the end of the game for doing that. But the person I was playing with didn't like that at all. They didn't like the fact that they were now hindered from not being able to do an action. And they felt like they were being penalized because they did it quickly or they did it well.
Interesting.
So that was something that came up. Again, I didn't have a problem with it, but other people weren't a fan of that.
Sure.
So overall, I actually enjoyed the game, but I think the confusion between the rule book or something not being entirely clear, and it was kind of left to interpretation, bearing in mind this is a newer game, so there really isn't much on the forums for us to go on, it was a little frustrating. And everybody said, I liked the game, but the coloring of the board made this really difficult, or just like water lines on the board. Is that water or is that a water source? Like, it was a bit confusing for people who actually play these types of games. Mm-hmm. And then, like I said, the confusion with the rulebook and whatnot. And then I didn't have a problem with it, but some people didn't like the fact that if you were able to complete something quickly, you were, and I put this in quotes, penalized for doing well. So overall, I think if a few of these adjustments happened, I think my experience may be a little bit better, but it wasn't a terrible game. So that was The Wolf.
All right. Well, I don't know about the penalization, but it's the way you described it. It's kind of like, if you know it going into the game, it's not the kind of thing that would frustrate me. I mean, right. I might get frustrated, but it's not something I would call unfair, I guess. But
right. And that's kind of where I was with it as well.
Sure. Well, first up for me, Flamecraft.
I'm so jealous. I don't have this one.
I'm sorry. Well, ooh.
I know. I'll have to borrow it.
So this is designed by Manny Vega, and the artwork is by Sundara Tang, and it's being published by Cardboard Alchemy, which is a relatively new publisher that was formed from a veteran from a previous publisher. So a lot of, it's a new publisher, but it's behind it is somebody who's very, very, very experienced. And in the retail edition, it's $40 US. Flamecraft is all about a town full of dragons and opening up dragon shops to woo and cater to all of these fabulous little dragon creatures. So as you are going out, more shops are going to open up. You're going to send your little dragon pawn there. More dragons are going to visit. And ultimately what you're trying to do is gather resources to fulfill enchantments. And you're gathering points and coins along the way. And at the end of the game, the person with the most coins or the most reputation in this beautiful little mystical, magical dragon town will win. Mm-hmm. This was on Kickstarter, I believe. And so there's different editions. And what I can say is I don't have the Kickstarter edition, but I do have the special wooden resource little bits that are screen printed. Fancy. And they are so delightful. I love wooden resources. I'm not super into metal components, and I'm not super into like the realistic components, but screen printed wooden bits just make my heart sing. And these have like little potion bottles and leaves, and the production is very, very nice. And the board is actually a neoprene mat that rolls up and fits in the box, which is awesome. But a lot of the game is in the shop cards and the dragon cards. So the shop cards go out and they have 3 slots that you can put dragons in. There's a cost that you have to do, or there's a matching type. There are types of dragons that you have to match, and then there's benefits that you can get. So on your turn, you're going to choose to move your dragon to a store and gather resources, or play a dragon, or enchant that store. An enchantment is fulfilling a card that says, hey, turn in 3 meat and 2 potions, and then you get this. And that'll add, when you enchant a store, it'll produce more resources the next time it's used, and that kind of thing. So in that way, it's a fairly standard worker placement resource gathering game, honestly. You're going to progress, and the game ends when either the dragon deck or the enchantment deck, the special dragon deck or the enchantment deck runs out, and you get one more round, and whoever has the most reputation, the most coins wins. So it is the most freaking charming, adorable game that you are going to spend. I've played it 3 times, and you are going to spend, like, in the 3rd game, we are still talking about how adorable this darn game is, as much as the first one, because the illustrations are just delightful. They're very cartoony, I guess, and there are different types of dragons, like a leaf dragon, a potion dragon, a meat dragon, like that's the type. But all the dragon cards within that type are unique, even though they do the exact same thing. They did not technically, from a mechanical point of view, need to be different, but they are unique in the game. And so you get like the green dragons with names like Twig and Mulch and Lotus, or the French toast dragons that have the names like Fondue, or the meat dragons that have the names Hot Dog and Hickory. And all of the illustrations are unique, and the charm factor is ridiculous. Now, the shops are also adorable. Now, anybody who has listened to the podcast for a while or who knows me knows I have a mostly hate relationship with puns.
Yes.
I don't really usually like puns, but not in like a super bad way. If you like puns, the shops are all very punny. They're
Yay.
so punny, but and adorable. So there you go. So without a doubt, the production and the art elevates the game experience, no doubt. From a gameplay point of view, though, it works really, really well. So you are going through, you're progressing, you're making interesting choices about when you're gathering resources, where you're putting dragons, how you are strengthening shops for people who come after you. And as you go, the shops often can get more interesting. And the order the shops come out, which is random, makes a huge difference. There are 6 starter shops that you will always start with, but then the rest of the new shops are shuffled up and randomized. And I definitely found that the order they come out in really impacts the gameplay in terms of kind of strategic directions that you want to go or how powerful a shop ability is at a given point. Like some abilities just seem better early game and worse late game, and that's the way it is. And depending on when it comes out, depends on how often people are taking advantage of it. You can definitely thwart other people's plans even unintentionally. So you are going to be working towards enchantments and things like this that rely on specific positioning. And I was definitely in a situation in one game where I had been planning and plotting and working like multiple turns, and somebody moved a dragon and it completely hosed me, and I made my opinion known on that move. But that's the game. I will say it's the kind of game where like that happens. So our willingness to plan super far ahead or lock into a plan, we had to be soft on because we knew it could be turned around on us. Some people won't care for that, right? For me, at the weight of the game and things like that, once I understood that could happen, I chilled into it and relaxed and just enjoyed it. But I thought that was something to be aware of for sure. But overall, if you're looking for kind of a medium weight, and I know weight is a very subjective thing, but it plays in under 90 minutes. Worker placement game with just tons and tons of charm. Flamecraft is solid, and I really, really enjoyed it. And I think it really is a wonderful introduction to Cardboard Alchemy as a new publisher in the space. So that is Flamecraft.
Yeah, this is one I wanted to play. I know it is, and as you were saying, weight is subjective. It's on the lighter side, but it's so cute. It looked really fun, and now you describing it makes me really want to watch it. Play it while watching House of the Dragon, which I'm totally caught up on, by the way. But now I'm into this whole like dragon thing, so I'm thinking this might have to happen. So I don't have a copy, but I'm hoping someone does, so I can give it a try. So Flamecraft, woo, looks good. Well, we go from dragons to deduction, the Turing Machine. So there is a game
Smooth like butter.
I know. I swear one of these days I'll be better at these transitions. But Turing Machine.
We've only been podcasting together for 5 or 6 years.
Whoa, so okay. Not everybody knows
that.
that.
Our segues get better.
Wow. Way to call me out.
Hey, I'm in the mix.
Oh, it's okay. If you didn't do it, discussion in the chat will, so it's totally fine. So Turing Machine, which is something that was actually in existence, and I have to say I didn't know much about the Turing Machine, and I still don't think I fully do. So I'm sure it's time for me to get some education and go online and check it out. But Turing Machine is designed by Fabien Gradel, Johan Levitt, and art is by Sébastien Bizos, and the publisher is Le Scorpion Masqué. And I believe Hachette Games is also putting this out. I might, from what I recall.
Well, Hachette is the umbrella company over a number of publishers like Scorpion Masqué, yeah.
I know some of the people at Le Scorpion Masqué, so that was kind of new to me with Hachette Games, but you are indeed correct. So Turing Machine, I was kind of surprised where this was going for myself, but it is a competitive deduction game, not social deduction, just deduction.
I love deduction games. Oh, I'm so jealous.
It like burns the brain though, and you're like, oh, but we'll talk about if that's good or bad, but it's kind of like you have a code. So there's a code that you are trying to find out. And in the game, they do give you options of picking ones that have more luck, less difficulty, or more difficulty, less luck, or kind of equal when you're deciding which one to figure out, which code. What ends up happening is everyone gets a little screen, and it has all, the explanation of how the game runs. And in the middle, you'll have like a hexagon, and then there are letters around it. So A, B, C, D, E, F. And depending on the level of difficulty or type of puzzle you chose, those spaces will be used. I know some of the easier ones, I think you only use A, B, C, and D, so you'll leave the other areas blank, but you'll have a smaller card, which is going to show the thing that you're trying to verify to get your code. And then underneath that card is a bigger card. And when you turn it over, it just looks like a bunch of X's and check marks, because what's going to happen is when the step comes for everybody to, hey, write down your code on your paper. And then you're going to pick these cards that are numbered 1 through 5. Sorry, 1 through 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I think it's 5. And 1, 2, 3. Yes, 1 through 5. And each number has colors associated with it. It's the same 3 colors, blue, yellow, and purple. So you'll have, and then each of those has a shape. It sounds silly, but it corresponds to some of the things you're trying to verify. Do you know what I mean? So depending on the number, like I might pick a 1 that ends up being like a 1 blue triangle. I'm sorry, I'm probably getting that wrong, but you have an idea. And then the 2 will be, like a yellow circle or whatever. But it has the numbers on them. So if I'm picking code 1, 1, 2, 3, you look at the categories on your sheet, and wherever you wrote the 1, that's the colored one that you're going to choose from the 1 row. So if I put 1 under the yellow, that's the number 1 I'm going to pick, yellow 1, and so forth. So it's a 3-digit code that you're trying to figure out. So usually just write 1 down. From there, you're going to get 3 opportunities to use the different verifiers to say, which one is it? Because the number card is the same size as the big card with the check marks and X's. So you look at the small card under A. We're going to check that off on our sheet. And this is verifying if, is blue bigger than purple, or is blue equal to purple, or that sort of thing. So then you could say, okay, I'm going to check A, check that off, take the big square one, put it up to your number, and matching the corners correctly, it'll tell you if what you're trying to verify is true or not. Sometimes it's not as direct and you kind of have to infer, but it kind of lets you know that you're on the right track. And you get 3 times in a turn, 3 different ones that you can verify. And then you can do 3 different ones or 3 of the same, because you can pick different numbers on your next turn. So once everyone's verified their number, at the end, you kind of go, okay, are we ready to solve? 1, 2, 3, and you do a thumbs up or a thumbs down. And if everyone's doing a thumbs down, you keep going. If someone does a thumbs up, like, I have the answer, they check the answer, and if it's correct, game over. Obviously, they win.
Got it. Okay.
If they didn't, they're out, and everyone continues until someone gets the code. It's kind of confusing to explain, but like once you see all the pieces,
sure,
okay,
totally.
That makes sense. I have to tell you, I was like, I'm going to be so bad at this game. The first time I played it, I was like, what? Like, I just wasn't getting it. Surprisingly, I'm actually not bad at this game. But even if I'm always scared to be like, yes. And then even when I say no, my code is right. I just need to be more confident in my responses.
Be bold.
Right? I overall think this game is super great. It's not a long game either. Like, I mean, yeah, sure, the thought process, depending on how difficult you want to do it. And there are others, just other types of puzzles you can get outside of the rule book. It's like a little QR code, and there's more online. But when you're starting off, don't do what we did. I was like, we're gamers. It's fine. Let's just do one that's kind of tough. Yeah, don't do that. It'll make you feel so dumb if you get it. It's brutal. Start slow. But overall, I really think the game is deduction. Like, it is a pure deduction game. I mean, obviously, you can throw a bit of luck depending on the ones you decide, and some of the verifiers, you'll see that. But I like it. And I've played it with people who I didn't think would like this type of game, and they're like, no, like, it was frustrating, but I enjoyed it. So, and you're not really paying attention to other people. Like, I mean, the discussion around the table is great, but you're worried about what you need to work on. Some problems I have an issue with games that have covers, that they're covering responses. Don't make them so small. What is the point? What is the point? I'm serious. Make them bigger.
I believe you.
And like, all the rules for the game are on it, which I appreciate, but make it bigger, because I swear I touch it with my big hands and then it's like, Godzilla, and I'm like making a mess. But that's what I feel like, because it's so small. So please make those bigger, because, I like to have the spacing and I don't feel like everyone's looking at my answer. But in regards to gameplay, I do find sometimes explaining this game can be a little tricky, especially when you're talking about the verifiers, because some of them are going to be like, it's this. Like, is this equal to this? Is this bigger than this? Is this smaller than this? That's very straightforward. Others, it requires a little bit of interpretation. Like, it'll be like, yes, you're on the right path, but you'll need another verifier to 100% make sure, yeah, this is what it is. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I get deduction can be very challenging in that way.
So I think explaining this can be a little tricky, but once you get it and you've kind of gone through it, super fun. So overall, Turing Machine, and I think I posted on social media, I love it. It's so good. I'm happy to continue playing this and going through all the puzzles.
Well, that's awesome. Unfortunately, it's sold out tons of places right now, so I haven't managed to pick up a copy yet. I am very excited to try this because I love deduction. So I'm glad to hear you enjoyed it.
Oh, you're gonna love it. So good.
Next up for me, I love a game that makes me want to eat it. Dulce. Dulce is from Stronghold Games. It is designed by Julio Nazario, and it has illustrations from Justine Norhe. And it's going to retail in the US for $40. And it has just a beautiful cover. It's got this light aqua cover with filigree work on it. And it just it evokes like a lovely fancy bakery, which is appropriate because that's largely what Dulce is about. You are going to get your own little player board that has a grid on it, and then your own personal deck of cards that has different bakeries on it, essentially, or different baked goods. It's not clear to me if it's like a bakery that specializes, because, for example, one card might have a little drawing and it's macaron or a creme brulee or donut, things like that. But it's a building, not a food object in the illustration. Whatever. And this is a bingo game in that one player will randomize their deck. And everybody else, they're all numbered, thankfully, and everybody else will just keep their own deck in order. And the person who randomized will flip over the card and say the number. Everybody finds that card, and you all play the same card to your area at the same time. I love that simultaneous play for kind of a quick, engaging gameplay experience, and that's what Dulce does. You're going to also get this 5 different cube sets, so for representing the different resources that you're going to be mucking around with, including vanilla, chocolate, peanut, eggs as well. And this is one complaint I have about the game is the cube colors are all very natural, and they're very close. They're very pretty, and they do look like caramels. I'm sorry, Mandi, caramels.
Thank you.
But so they look delicious, but I did find once in a while, like, is this vanilla or is this a peanut color one? Mm-hmm. Kind of a quibble, kind of not. It's just something to be aware of in the production of the game. But as these cards come out, you're going to be making the choice to plant it on your board or your field, and that's where it will generate these resource cubes for you. Or you can lay it to the side and build up your kind of bakery baked goods tableau of cards, because all the cards also have resource icons on them with a number of circles around them. You may also instead make the choice to discard your card, which allows you to harvest resources from your field or your board and then plant them into your bakeries, which then scores them. Because when you manage to put a resource on each resource icon on the cards, then it will score you a point, and you've got your own little personal score track that you are tracking that on. That's actually, to me, kind of a fun game in and of itself. But where the kind of twist to Dulce that up-levels it a little bit comes in is that there's a resource cascade. So when you look at these icons, there will be up to 2 circles. I guess there's going to be an icon, and then it can have 1 ring or 2 rings around it. That's like the level of the resource. So when you put a resource into a 3-ring icon, and then you complete that card, that 3-ring creates a byproduct. And so you could actually cascade that resource down to a 2-ring version of that resource on a different card. So you don't need to reharvest the resource. You can just kind of create this combo of cascading resources between your different bakeries. And then if that card fulfills, you can actually cascade that same resource down to another resource icon that has no rings. At that point, it doesn't cascade any further. It doesn't create a byproduct. It's discarded. But kind of figuring out your tableau of bakeries and baked goods to figure out how you can be efficient in creating these resource cascades or byproduct systems is kind of the biggest, to me, twist in this game. Now, if you don't have another bakery that the resource can move down to, you can discard it and you feed it to the chickens, because along with your point tracker, you have a little chicken meeple, and that's going to be running around your score track as well, indicating how many eggs you have or how many chickens you have. I'm not sure how that works. But basically on your turn, you can also move your chicken back 3 points and get an egg resource, which is a wild resource as well to help you fulfill these cards. It doesn't create a byproduct. I don't know why. I guess because you only use eggs once. and you can use peanuts twice. But that's kind of a little help to let you complete these cards as you go. The game ends when you go through the deck, and whoever has the most points wins. So it's a very straightforward game. It's very simple. But because you have this multi-use card element and where you're making your choice about planting, creating a bakery, or discarding to take that action, that's a nice twist. And that resource cascade is a nice little twist element as well. It's a beautiful game. All the little card illustrations are lovely. I do have that one resource cube complaint, but the production quality itself is quite nice. And, it is one of those games, because of the way it's designed, if you add 2 copies, you could play up to 8 people. So you can play up to 4 right out of the box. That's a very normal player count. You can play it solo. I have played it solo and I enjoyed it very much. Or if you had 2 copies, you could play like with a big family group or a big friend group as well. So a really solid, enjoyable bakery bingo resource management game, Dulce.
I've played this solo. Solo. Wow. I played solo and I really enjoyed it, actually. And then we did a stream not too long ago.
We streamed it, yep.
This is a game, though, you have to pay attention. And I find that sometimes I cheat myself in the fact, like, did I score that? Or, like, did I do that? Like, I forget. And it is one I find that's one of the little things you have to pay attention or you're just going to miss.
I think that's a very good point, Mandy.
Scoring and whatnot. And also, I'm a big fan of Dulce de Leche. And one of my mi amor amigas is Chilena. And when I was in Chile, I had manjar. And it's like the equivalent of like a Dulce de Leche, but the kind of way it's made is a little different. And we would often have it with flan. Was there a flan place in...
I don't know. I don't recall.
Missed opportunity if there was not, because flan is amazing. Just saying. It would be so perfect for this game.
Custards are awesome.
There you go. Dulce. So good. Well, my last game I played a lot of at CanadaCon, and my friend Steph also demoed this quite a bit, and that is Keystone North America. I feel like, have I mentioned this game before on the podcast? I think I've mentioned it.
Well, on our previous podcast, we talked about Keystone, yes.
Well, guess what? I'm going to talk about it again. Because now I played it solo. I've played it with several times with different player counts. And I've also now played the deluxe version. And I know generally we try not to talk about that here. Fancy. I know, but I gotta talk about it. So this actually ties in nicely to what I wish they would have done in Wolves. And I'll explain that in a second. So Keystone North America is designed by Jeffrey Joyce and Isaac Vega. Art is by Irem Herbelier, Alyssa Menold, and Jan Tamba. It's published by Rose Gauntlet Entertainment. So in Keystone North America, it's definitely about building up your ecosystems. And you do this by getting certain types of cards with certain types of icons, usually kind of season types of icons, that correspond to each other on the board. These cards also have numbers on them, which is important. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and being in a kind of order, so either 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, something along those lines, is important for scoring. Before I jump right in, I should probably tell you a little bit more about it and the fact that it plays 1 to 4 players. That's important. And it plays in about 40 to 90 minutes. The pricing was hard for me to get on this one because it's not on Board Game Bliss, and I think you can only buy it either you got it through the Kickstarter or directly from their site. So this one was a bit trickier for me to get pricing. In the game, now I'm going to describe the game and then I'll tell you after what the deluxe parts were. Each player gets their own board and it has kind of a grid that you're going to be using. There's a display of cards that you can acquire to put into your ecosystem, and there are different types of animals with the different numbers that I mentioned. You also have some tiles, which are actions that you can take. Depending on which side they're flipped on, will depend on how many of those actions you can take. If they're on the white side, you get to take one of them. If it's on the yellow, then you get to take any tile that's flipped. Sorry, you get to take all of the tiles that are flipped on the yellow side and they flip back, but that also progresses the game because it pushes up that marker toward finishing the game. You have another additional action that you can do, and that is to take these kind of expensive cards, but they act as wild. So if you have a spot you're like, oh, I kind of poo-pooed that, or made a mistake, I can buy one of these cards to plug that in, and that'll help me kind of fix that mistake if possible. And when placing cards beside matching ecosystems or seasons that you have on the board, you'll get I say acorns, that is not the technical term, but it's the currency of the game. But for each matching one that you place, you do get those in the game, and that'll help you acquire cards.
Acorns. They're acorns.
I know, but there's like a technical term, and I don't remember. Yeah. I'm sorry.
Rules.
I know, right? Shame on me. But it helps you buy cards because I don't know if those are familiar with Century Spice Road, but it's one of those where the first card on the left is free, and then any card after that, you got to drop an acorn to get to the one you want. So that's how that works with the acorns for using it as money. And then also buying those kind of wild cards. I think they cost like 10, so they're not cheap. The game is going to end when we get to the end of the rounds dependent on player count. And remember, I said that kind of marker progresses. This is one way. The marker progresses based on those actions you're taking with the tiles. If you take those yellow actions, it just pushes that marker. Or if a player finishes their board and then you finish out the round. Oh, this game. I like it, but man, am I bad at it.
Fair enough. That's
because
okay.
I mean, you want cards that have keys on them because keys allow you to score. For each key, you get to score it again.
It is called
again.
Keystone. Yeah.
Correct. So that's important. Getting those research tokens, and there's little clipboard tokens. Depending on if you're playing solo or with other people, it'll be different. But those will add extra points to rows or columns because when you're scoring each row and each column, and the only ones that score that are ones that are sharing an ecosystem and are in a numerical order. And they have to be a minimum of 2. So you could have like a 1-2, a 4 or 5. Ideally, you want like a 5-4-3-2-1 kind of situation, or a 5-4-3-2. You take it what you can get. And then you also have objective card that you can play with as well. And I really find in this game, you either have to focus on the objective or focus on your board. You can do both, but I found that people who did those objectives, like 24 points for completing all your objectives, that's pretty strong. And if you're able to get your board in order at the same time, good on you, because that's not something that I'm particularly good at. But this game is simple in rule set, but then you find just trying to get your board sorted out, like I was saying, trying to get that objective, trying to get that board sorted in the right, it's oh my gosh. And you'll place a card and you're like, yeah, that was wrong. And you've now screwed up your whole board. But if one of the tiles has the action that allows you to move a card, not so bad. Or those wild cards I was telling you about. When you're scoring a row, or if you're scoring a column, it's one number. But then when you're scoring a row, it could be a different number. So, it's helpful, and there are ways to mitigate mistakes. And I put that in quotes because maybe you meant to do that and it just didn't turn out the way you wanted it to. So there are ways to help you with that. But it's also a very beautiful game. And I know there were several artists, as I had listed off, that did some of the card art. And it's just gorgeous. And here's where the Deluxe is different. There's a mat where all the cards are laid out versus just on the table. And you don't need the scoring track. Not the scoring track, sorry. The track that manages the rounds. That's all on the mat.
Sure.
So now you have that, which is really nice to look at. The boards, and I don't know if this is actually part of the Deluxe or the regular, because the version that I have didn't have this. But if you flip it on one side, it's actually like very bright, vibrant art that's kind of very thematic to the game. And then the other side of the player board is just green. So it's just green and in a grid format. This is what I was saying, like the other game we talked about, were options. Some people like that and they're okay with it. Have another side where it's like, I'm not so much into having that much art. I'm okay with the plain side. I think that's thinking about, the different types of people that might want to play the game. Not to say that they didn't do that in the other game. That might not have been the thought process there, but I do appreciate that here. So that was something to look at. The solo one has a campaign kind of mode, which I think is so cool. I really like that they have like little secret envelopes. I like that.
Right. That's always fun.
Let me do this and then open it. Well, it's just for me because it's solo. I'm about it. Like I said, I'm not a solo player, but games like this where it has that story mode and surprises, and I like that. So
you're
Keystone
not a
North
solo player,
America,
except all the times that you are a solo player.
It's just, I'm very particular about the games I play solo. Solo RPGs,
fair enough.
Yes. Anything that has a story S-type mode, and I don't have to play like a dummy player or another thing, I'm about it. Maybe I am turning into a selective solo player. SSP. That's going to be my new initials. But anyway, Keystone North America. I like it solo. I like it in a group. So good. And you think I'd be playing it so often that I'd be better at it. I'm not, but I still want to play and do better. So Keystone North America for me is a win.
Yeah, it's a really lovely game. And I got to play the preview edition and enjoyed it similarly as you, but it is challenging.
Huzzah.
All right, to wrap up games played, Cat in the Box. Not to be mixed up with Felix the Cat, which was a cat in a box as well. Another great game. This is designed by Muneyuki Yokuchi, and the illustrations are by Osamu Unui. And the original publisher is Ayatsuare Ningyukan. because this is out of Asia originally. Right. And then Bezier picked it up and published it as Cat in the Box Deluxe Edition and changed some of the components and things like that. But the original design is out of Asia, which I always like to point out because it feels like sometimes we forget to acknowledge the originator of games that get imported. Absolutely. And, I think that innovation and creativity deserves acknowledgement, especially with a game like Cat in the Box. Cat in the Box is a trick-taking card game.
Yes.
I'm not going to teach you I'm not going to talk about trick-taking games because if you don't know how to play a trick-taking game, I think it is one of the most difficult mechanisms to teach to somebody who wasn't taught as a kid and just grew up with it. Cat in the Box trick-taking game in which all the cards are black. They all have cute cat illustrations on them, but you get cards 1 through 9, and there's no suits. Instead, you get a little placard that has blue, green, red, and yellow around the edges, and you're going to get a bunch of tokens, and then there's a little grid board that gets placed out as well. The way that you play this is you can play the cards as any color you want, and you indicate the color by which side of your placard you put it on. So if you put a card next to your blue side, you've played a blue card. You then take one of your tokens and you mark that card on the shared board in the center. So if I play a 6 to the blue, then I would put my token in this 6 blue spot, indicating that the blue 6 has been played. Nobody else can then play a 6 to the blue side for the rest of that hand, right? Because it's out of the deck technically. So then Mandi could play a 4 blue, right? And play a 4 next to her blue and then put her token onto the 4. Now nobody can play a 4 or 6. At the end of the round, the end of the hand, the person with the highest lead card in that suit takes the trick. Hurrah! On your board, you also have spots where you're going to indicate a bid. So you're going to look at your hand, you're going to discard a card, you're going to guess how many tricks you can take, and you're going to put a marker to indicate your bid of how many tricks you're going to take. At the end of the round, this is really, really critical because the way that you score this game is you will get 1 point per trick that you have taken. Cool. But if you hit your bid exactly, so if I bid 3 and I take exactly 3, no more, no less, then you get the bonus scoring off of the board. Remember these tokens that you're putting out to mark the cards you play? If you hit your bid, you will look for your largest continuous grouping of your tokens on the board, and you will get a point per token in that grouping. So if I have a little grouping of 4 tokens altogether, and I hit my bid, I will get 4 bonus points. Critical scoring, and such a fascinating element. On top of this idea of the cards being colorless, all of a sudden the way that you are assessing your hand is beyond just how many tricks you're going to take. It's where are you going to be able to place the tokens to try to create a power group. Then you also have to, bid correctly to try to maximize on that. All great stuff. And on top of that, you can create a paradox because thematically, you are experimenting with time travel with a cat in your time travel box, and you can accidentally create a paradox, which is tragic when you think about a cat in a box and then creating a paradox. But that happens when you are unable to play a card, and then you've created a paradox. Well, that causes a few things to happen. 1, now you will lose a point for every trick that you have taken if you activate a paradox. And 2, the hand ends immediately, even if other people have other cards to play, which can also throw them off because if they had calculated their trick count perfectly and bid perfectly, but then you create a paradox and it doesn't let them get that last trick that they were counting on because you ended the hand, whoa, woof, woof.
Meow.
Meow indeed, Mandi. See, you're all about the theme, and I am so very opposite. There you go. Cat in the Box. If you like trick-taking games, it's so clever and so creative. And honestly, for some reason, out of the Asian design groups out there, they are creating some really fascinating trick-taking games that are worth taking a look at. And Cat in the Box is a great example of a trick-taking game doing things differently. It still feels like a trick-taking game, but so much more. And the Bezier production of the Deluxe Edition is quite lovely with the quality of these cute little plastic tokens. Their colors are maybe a little bit close because they're also translucent. So if you're quick glancing, they are all unique and different, have different little art on it. But
I did struggle with a couple of the colors, yeah.
Right. And then there is a little bit of variability because normally you're putting the tokens out and the numbers line up in order, you can switch the cards around so that the numbers don't line up, which messes with your grid planning and twists it in your brain a little bit as well. So there's that way to play as well. So Cat in the Box, if you like trick-taking games, I recommend it highly. It's just genius.
It's so good. And I loved that the cards were black. I'm one of those people that puts my computer on like high contrast. So I like the black background with the white. I love it. So I was about it. So yeah, Cat in the Box was fun.
There you have it, folks. We are going to let you listen to somebody else for a few minutes. Next up in our You're the Expert segment, we are joined by Tanya Pobuda, who is going to introduce herself, and you'll learn a little bit more about her fascinating research into the board game space.
Hi, my name is Dr. Tanya Pobuda. I recently defended my PhD, which is focused on board games with a specific emphasis on representation of race and gender in hobby spaces and in board game content. I have been studying board games for about 5 years. I began my dissertation topic on the topic of empathy in play and workspaces. But then I realized that there was a bigger challenge afoot in all kinds of different sectors, but board gaming in specific, where I realized that the lack of gender and racial representation in the products and the gaming spaces was an issue. And because I was an empathy researcher, I was looking for reasons why there was a troubling lack of inclusion in workplaces and in play spaces. And what my research identified after conducting a very lengthy survey of the labor of board game design and the artwork and representation on the board games themselves was the empirical sweep, essentially, of the labor of board game design was that 92.6% of the top 400 ranked games on Board Game Geek were designed by white identified and male identified creators. And then I looked at the artwork and representation on that top 200 and found an overrepresentation of men or boys on that cover artwork at 76.8% of the human representation. Women or girls only represented 23.2% of all of those figures. And the rarest representation of all were women of color. So I found that finding really troubling, and I wanted to delve deeper, talking to people about their board gaming experiences in gaming spaces, mostly public, conventions, game stores, that kind of board game experience, and found that a lot of the folks that I surveyed said that they tend to privately curate their own game groups, avoid public events, and 84.9% of the respondents indicated that diverse racial and gender representation in board games was a problem, and that they wanted to see publishers do better. So my findings really underlined a change imperative required in the board game industry. I bring to this research decades of work in multinational corporations around market research, and identify that there's a huge gap in understanding about demographic changes and market expansion strategies, and that board games will get left behind if we continue a very blinkered approach to how board games should be, the gatekeeping, the exclusionary conduct that can happen in board game spaces delimits, stunts, and stultifies the hobby. I'm a big fan of Salt and Sass. I'm very proud to be able to share this with you all. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I'm going to continue to be a board game academic looking at these issues, and I'm really excited. My dissertation is finally finished. It was defended in the summertime and will be available for everyone to read at the Toronto Metropolitan University Library. So that's something that's quite exciting that's happening in the next few weeks. I'm recording this at the end of September 2022. Thanks so much for the opportunity. Once again, I'm Tanya Pobuda, and it's great to be here on Salt and Sass.
I'd give Suzanne a break because I always make her introduce game pie, and I'm like, no, I want some pie. And this pie today, I am feeling mistaken identity games. So to explain further, games that have covers that don't really reflect the game itself. And I know you all have some in your mind, and this is just a little sampling, a little sampler plate of ones that, that we have thought of.
Yeah, and now, Mandi, to be clear, I only added games that I really like.
Okay.
Did you do that, or is it?
No,
just
I did.
Like, no,
I did.
Yeah,
I did.
Yeah,
There's
right?
one
so
on the there's one on the list that's like I haven't played it for a long time, but I like it. You know,
got it.
Yeah. Got it. Okay, so I guess I'm kicking off first, and I know you've heard us talk about this, but Happy Pigs, and I think this is published by Yellow Games. I could be incorrect, but
yep, Yellow.
You're correct. And Happy Pigs is one of those games where the front you're like, oh, it has this like cute, fun, big-eyed art. You're like, oh, it's definitely a kids game. It's not, and I have all of it. Like all the little promos. And it's just one of those games where it does take a little bit of explaining. There are little tricky things in the game that make it something that is just a little more high level than a children's game. So Happy Pigs for me, great game. Definitely a little misleading with the art, but it's quite good.
That is like a prime example of what we're talking about here. First up for me, first slice, Cryptid. Cryptid is a fabulous deduction game. And when you look at the cover, it's got this really cool looking cover from Kwanchai Moria doing the cover art. And Kwanchai does do the art in the game, but it's basically just tiles with like some environmental details. And honestly, I look at the cover of Cryptid, I hear the name Cryptid, and I'm thinking, ooh, mystery. And I'm seeing this Kwanchai art, and I'm hoping to get all this Kwanchai art in the game. And then you get a fairly abstract deduction game experience with just different shaped and colored wooden pieces and then these tiles. Don't get me wrong, it is a fabulous game. But I think if you look at the cover and then you see what the game is, a little bit of a mismatch there.
Absolutely. No, I feel you on this one. Next slice of pie for me, and I talked about this recently, was My Little Pony Adventures of Equestria. So, and I think I mentioned it in my review, this game is 100% a 14-plus game. We all look at, the IP,
right.
My Little Pony, and you're like, oh, it's so cute, and you think it's for kids. It's not. It's a deck builder, but as we know, some deck builders, a lot of reading of cards, and sometimes having those nuances, this card does this, which will chain this, and then there are other actions within that need to be done. It's a lot, and some kids, if they're used to playing these types of games, great. But I think the box says 14+, and that's there for a reason. So My Little Pony Adventures of Equestria, it's definitely one that you'd want to. It is definitely a little bit of more of a high level game.
Right. You think of My Little Pony as little.
Sure,
kids,
for like younger children or something along those lines.
Right. So next slice up for me in mistaken identity games, The Game. So the original publication of The Game has a dark orange and black sketch, and it's a skull. It's like this skull, and the skull is on every card. Every card just has a number on it, and then the skull. It's just 99 skulls in the skull box. But really, you could have no art on these cards, just the numbers, right? And play this fabulous cooperative game where you are trying to play cards out of the whole deck. And, you can there's piles that go up and piles that goes down. I play this with my kids all the time, but honestly, the art alone, that skull is so, it's just an odd thematic element to add when it's completely unnecessary. And for younger people, maybe a little off-putting. Then Pandasaurus released an edition that featured Kwanchai Moria art that is more colorful. It's still abstract. And that's the edition we play. And we play it all the time. We love the game. It's cooperative. It's quick. It's just a little deck of cards. So the original The Game, The Skull Edition, I don't know why they went with that, but it just seems like such an odd thematic choice for that game. So there you go.
Yeah, I definitely, and I like skulls, but I also didn't quite get it. So with you on that one. The next slice of pie for me is Decrypto. So Decrypto is one of those games, and I think this is Scorpio Masque. I think this is a game from them,
It is, just like Turing Machine.
It is. I'm on a roll today with all of this. But it's one of those games where looking at it, you potentially might think it's a party game. Maybe. But then it's one of those games where it's not a heavy game, but trying to explain this game, especially to people who are not generally game players, I find it a little tricky. Do you know what I mean? Like there's a lot going on. And I remember
it is a great game, but I find it very challenging to teach.
Absolutely. So looking at it first sight, you're like, oh yeah, it seems party. That's not too much. And then when you start explaining it, you see the confusion. And I'm a teacher and I think I'm fairly good at teaching games. And I do find this one a little tricky, but still a fun game once you get it going. So Decrypto for me, that's definitely one where I think it's lighter than it actually is. Just a little tricky to explain.
Yeah. All right. Next slice up for me. Docmas. So Docmas is a game that I don't think really took off, although it did get a little expansion, thankfully, which is awesome. But Docmas has this art, and it's like a distant shot, and there's like a stone statue in the front, and I'm really not even sure what I'm looking at when I'm looking at the cover. It's kind of soft palette and stuff like this. It's really an abstract puzzly kind of game where you're working to get out an area control almost, where you're working to get out your little tents throughout these tiles that can move and rotate. I love Docmas. It's a fabulous game, but I'm not going to say it's got a pasted on theme, but the theme is not absolutely critical to the gameplay, and the game is not really telling a story as you go through it. Mm-hmm. And I think that similar to Cryptid, where you're looking at this cover and it's like got this atmospheric setting kind of thing going on, and then you get in and it's largely just an abstract kind of game, and you're like, oh,
yeah,
okay.
Like it's not,
you roll with it. But and I wonder if it held people back sometimes from Docmas, because I love Docmas, and it's one of those games I bring up, and even within hobbyists, they're like, oh yeah, that one. I'm like, oh no, play Docmas, it's so fun.
Yeah, exactly. Totally hear that. Well, my last slice of pie is a game that's been around for a while, and that's Seven Wonders. I like Seven Wonders. It's great. And a lot of people will say, it's one of those games when people are just coming into the hobby. I don't know if I 100% agree with that. I think it's a game to play early on, but as someone like the first time, it's a lot. Like, it doesn't seem that, but to explain it, and I just remember having a session, just the confusion of, especially people who are not familiar with the terms, you have to explain everything, and which is fine, I'm happy to do so.
Sure.
But the explanation took a while. So Seven Wonders is one of those ones for me where I think it has a reputation of being one, if you first start, you should play this one. But I actually think it's one where you should play a couple of games, get your feet wet in before you jump into Seven Wonders.
Fair enough. Last slice of our mistaken identity games, Calico. Now, Calico, if you look at this box, it's got the beautiful Beth Sobel illustration of a wonderful patchwork quilt and a curled up, soft, warm, fuzzy kitty all napping on the blankie. Oh, isn't that cute and pretty? No. Calico is a game. It's such a good game, right? Where you're putting out tiles and trying to create patchwork patterns that fit the tiles on that, and you're drafting tiles as you go. There is so much going on in this game. It is relatively simple to teach, but when you get into it, that game is a brain burner, and trying to prioritize which scoring you're going from and how you draft these tiles and when you make a sacrifice, plus there are buttons you're trying to get out and all this other stuff. Thematically and artistically, Calico is this gentle, lovely, peaceful game. But in play, it's going to hurt a little bit. And it's very, very clever. It's a phenomenal game. But I always love the softness and gentleness of the setting and the illustrations compared to the actual burn that you feel when you play Calico. Interesting.
Yeah, cute, but deadly.
Exactly right. Just like cats.
Yeah, fair.
So there you have it. That is our game pie on mistaken identity games. This is one I would love to hear from y'all about what your mistaken identity games are that we missed, because I think it's a fascinating thing when you think about the expectation, right? You can't judge a book by its cover. You can't judge a game by its box. But I always think it's really interesting when the box might set a certain expectation that you doesn't quite meet in the gameplay itself. So send us, email us, contact us.
Put it in, if you're watching the video, put it in the comments.
Oh, that's right. If you're on YouTube, drop it down in the comments. I want to hear about your mistaken identity games for sure. As always, thank you so much for being here and for joining us for episode 3. It's been great to get your feedback and your comments and your compliments and your constructive feedback. We really do appreciate that as we're, rebuilding and getting our new footing and our new format. And thank you for that. We've definitely heard you. I've people are loving the You're the Expert. And so hopefully you enjoyed
Nice.
meeting Tanya here and getting to know her. You can actually find her at TanyaPobudaPhD.com, where you can find some of her comments and research. It's fascinating stuff, folks. And I really am looking forward to having Tanya speak more to her expertise on the show as we go on. Meanwhile, questions, comments, mistaken identity games, you can email us at SaltAndSassGames@gmail.com. And you can follow us on social media. We are just an N, Salt and Sass Games on Twitter. And Mandi, on Twitter, you've got, and Instagram.
Actually, on Salt and Sass, we're also on YouTube and Twitch. So can't forget those. And then for me, I am at...
You're so pro.
I know. It's just because, I gotta put that all in there. And I'm at 613 Mandi on Instagram and Twitter.
And I am 425 Suzanne on Instagram and Twitter. It is a pleasure and privilege to be able to be part of your extended gaming family. It's really awesome to be here. Hopefully you heard about a game that catches your eye. Drop us any notes you have about future game pies you want to see, or, if there's anybody you want to hear from in the industry for You're the Expert, let us know. We've got a really cool lineup of lots of folks that are going to be contributing over time, but we could always use more.
Exactly.
Until next time, play some games, have some fun, and stay hydrated, everybody. We'll see you next time.
See you next time. Bye. Promotional consideration has been provided by game publishers in the form of review copies of games. If you'd like to support the podcast, please check us out on coffee.com/SaltAndSassGames. Thank you for your support. Salt and Sass is produced with love by Suzanne and Mandi, and we'll be back next episode with more salt, more sass, and more games.